Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Stedman. Today I'll be teaching you how to knit this beautiful super-sized sweater. It's very easy to do. I hope you guys like it and give it a try. And here is the listing material you're gonna need to make. To make this super-sized sweater, this is the yarn I'm gonna use. It's Lion brand yarn, wool, easy, thick and quick. 97 meter or 170 gram, and you're gonna need 5 of these. It is 80% acrylic, 20% wool. It's super bulky 6, and the color is fisherman. So you need 5. You're gonna need 2 size netting needle, a US 19 or 15 millimeters, and a US 17 or 12 millimeter. You're gonna need measuring tape, tapestry needle, and scissors. Also, you're gonna need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil or a notebook to keep track of your rows, because the amount of row that you're gonna do in the front, you will have to do it in the back, and the same for the sleeve, okay, to create the two exactly the same. We're gonna cast on only 36 stitches. So this, I see some big sweater like this in Instagram, Facebook, and internet, in the TV and magazines. Not exactly like this one, but big ones like this. So even if you are a medium size, this still will look nice on you. And this will fit to large to extra large, because it's nice and loose and it gives a lot, even with only 36 stitches. So you're gonna wrap around your needle 36 times. So once you have your 36 times, we're gonna start our cast on. I have the tail here long enough for my 36 stitches, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my shortest needles. This one, they are 19 US, exactly the same as this one, 19 US, but this one will be easier for me to work in front of the camera, and then later I will change to my longer ones. And I hope this is long enough for my 36 stitches. So you're going to do a slip knot, and that loop counts as the first cast on. And you're going to cast your 36 stitches nice and loose. So you have 1, and then you count the 2, 3. You see, nice and loose. I don't come and do this, because and then this will be very tight in here and this very loose on the top, okay? You have to cast down nice and loose. So I will meet you here when I have my 36 stitches on my needle. Here I have my 36 stitches, and you think that this is too little for a sweater, but I'm going to show you. I already did the front part. That's what I'm going to show you what to do right now. And I already made mine, and these 36 stitches, it will be this size. Let me zoom out a little bit, that way you can see what I'm talking about. You see, and here I have 36 stitches, and you see this is stretched so much that can be large, extra large, okay? And it will be like this, okay? So that's what we're gonna do now with those 36 stitches. So we're gonna start with the rib stitch of 1 net 1 purl for 6 row. We're gonna start with a net, and then a purl, nice and loose. I'm not pulling my yarn or anything, nice and loose. You're gonna do 1 net 1 purl, and that's the repetition that you're gonna do for 6 rows. And nice and loose. You see, and then only 6 rows, and look at the width of this, 6 stitches, sorry, not 6 rows, 6 stitches. So you're going to continue with the net and a purl, and you're going to repeat that for 6 rows. Okay, I finished row number 1. Row number 2 is the repetition exactly the row number 1. You're going to start with a net and then 1 purl, 1 net, 1 purl for 6 rows. Okay, so I'm going to do mine off camera, and then I will show you how to do the stitch that we're going to do. Is the repetition of 2 rows all the way, repeating those 2 rows until the shoulders. Okay, nice and loose. Here I have my 6 row, and don't look like it's a big sweater, but remember they are all, you know, gathered up in the top. So now we're gonna divide the stitch in 3 parts. So that will be 10 seed stitch, 16 for the fantasy stitch, and 10 seed stitch. So that's our 36 stitches. So we're gonna start to work the stitches, the first 10 as we see the stitches. So you're gonna start with a net, and this is only for 10 purl, net, a purl, until you have 10 stitches in this needle. Okay, you have the 10 stitches, and look at the width already of those 10. So now we're gonna start with the stitch, the fantasy stitch in the center, and that will be in the 16 stitches, and it's multiple of 4. So you're gonna start with 2 net, yarn over, and 2 purls together. Okay, and that you're going to repeat 3 more times, in total of 4 times in the center. Okay, so you have your 10 stitches plus 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together, and a purl stitch. Again, you're going to repeat 2 net, yarn over, and this is a complete yarn over because it's 2 purls together, so you have to wrap on your needle. So you're going to do 2 purls together, and you've done this twice, and you will know because you had these little holes in here. So again, 2 net, a complete wrap for a yarn over because it's 2 purls together in the next one. You have 3, and you have to repeat that one more time. 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together, and a purl stitch. And you'll have here 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then now you're going to work them as you see them. And in the next row, we're going to start with a seed stitch on those 10 stitches. Okay? So I finished row number 1, and you had to write down that you did row number 1 of the stitch. So you finish with a purl, and you have to start with a purl. That's the seed stitch. You start with the same stitch that you end the row before. If you finish with a net, you have to start with a net. You see this one here is a net, so you have to start with a purl, and this one is a purl, you have to do a net, the opposite. So we start with 1 purl, and then a net, then a purl, and then a net. Like that you're going to continue working until you have 10 stitches in this needle. Here I have my 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to start again with a fantasy stitch, and you start exactly the same as the row before. You're going to start with 2 net, and the second net is a yarn over, yarn to the front, do a yarn over, and the next 2 together in a purl stitch, yarn to the back, 2 net. You see the second net is the yarn over, yarn to the front, do a yarn over, and 2 together in a purl stitch. Again, yarn to the back, 1, 2 net, yarn over, 2 together, and a purl stitch. Again, 1, 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together, and a purl stitch. Now you're going to work the seed stitch, so that's a net, you do a purl, and the next one is a purl, you do a net. And like that you're going to continue working all the way to the end. In the next row I'm going to work with a bigger size, longer size needle, no bigger size, longer size needle. That way you can see this much better. So I finished with the net, and now with the longer needle I'm going to start working this row. And you're going to start with the net. The next one is a net, and you're going to do a purl. And the next one will be a net, and then a purl, and like that you're going to continue. Flip this one over until you have 10 in this needle. Okay, once you have your 10 stitches in here, you're going to continue with the same repetition that we done so far for the fantasy stitch. You're going to do 1 net, another net, that is the yarn over, and then you're going to do the yarn over, and 2 together, and a purl stitch. Again, 1, 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together, and a purl stitch. And that is half of the piece, and look how big. These look big here, but later on it will take its shape. So you're going to continue with that repetition of your seed stitch and this one, and then when you start, you had your 10 seed stitch, you will start with 2 net, yarn over, 2 together, and a purl stitch. 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together, and a purl stitch. And you repeat that 4 times, you will have 10 left, and you will do the seed stitch as you're supposed to. If you see that is a net, and then, or a purl, you have to do a net in the top, and if it's a net, you have to do a purl. So that's what you're going to do. I already have my front part, so I don't want to continue in that one. So let me show you here. This is what you're going to do. Exactly like that. You see, the hole look quite big, but once you continue working, they look all the same. And this is my 10 seed stitch, my 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together, and then you see 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together, and like so you're going to continue working until you have 48 rows. After that I will show you how to cast off the shoulder, how to leave the center, cast off the other shoulder, and then work on your collar. For the back, once you finish the front, you will do 6 rows of 36 stitches of 1 net, 1 purl, the rib stitch, and then after that I will meet you here for the back. So it's very easy, nothing complicated. So I don't know how to write pattern. I've been asked a lot about if I have written pattern for my pieces, but I don't know how to write them yet. But I will do my best to leave under the description box what to do in this piece. So you will do, I will put in the description box 10 stitch of seed stitch, and then I will leave 2 net, yarn over, and 2 together in a purl stitch, or purl 2 together. I will look in a book how to do that, writing the little piece of pattern. That way how to write this. Okay, so I will do my best to leave that instruction there, that way you can follow that until you have 48 rows, that is this size in here. Okay, you see how big it is, and that is done. Look, with this, it's exactly the same size. So I'll meet you here when we're working in the top of the piece. Here I have 48 rows done. Look like this. So if you want this shorter, you can do less row. As you want it longer, you can do more. So it's up to you. So now I'm gonna separate the shoulders and the collar. So I'm gonna cast off 8 stitches in one side and 8 stitches in the other side and leave the center for the collar. Okay. So we're gonna cast off the stitches as they're supposed to be work. So this one is a purl. You're supposed to do a net. So you're gonna net this one, purl the next one, and then pass the net on top of the purl. Okay. I cast off my 8 stitches. Now we're gonna work the stitches as we supposed to. So this one is a net, so it's supposed to be a purl. You're gonna do that one a purl. Now you're gonna work these 16 stitches as you've been working it so far, and then after that you're gonna continue with the 10 seed stitch, and then after that you're gonna go back and cast off those 8, and then you'll have 20 stitches on your needle for your collar. Your 2 net, yarn over and 2 together, and a purl stitch, and like that you're gonna continue for those 16 stitches, and then after that you're gonna do your 10 stitches. Here I finished my 16 stitches, so now we're going to work the stitches as you're supposed to. So that is a purl, so you're going to do a net. This one is a net, you're going to do a purl, and you're going to continue doing the stitch until the end, and then in the way back we're going to cast off those 8 stitches. So I finished row 49, so now in row 50 you're going to just cast off those 8. So you're going to work them as you see them. So this is a net, you're going to do a purl. And this one is a purl, you're going to do a net, and you cast off 1, and 2, and like that you're going to continue casting off until you have 20. You'll have 19 in this needle and 1 in this one. Here I have 19 in this needle and 1 in this one, and I'm going to work the stitches as you're supposed to. It's a purl here, it was a net, now it's a purl, and then you're gonna net 2, yarn over and purl 2 together, and like that you're gonna continue, and then you're gonna do the last 2. This one will be a purl and the last one a net. So here I have the shoulder and the part of the collar. So if you like, you can continue working this, just the 6th stitch for the collar, 1 net 1 purl, 1 net 1 purl, and then if you finish with a net, start with a net again, and you'll create your 6th stitch. So I'm gonna continue working on the collar, and I'm doing the 6th stitch. So where you did a net, you will do a purl, and where you do a purl, you will do a net. So like that, you're gonna continue working your color, and you're gonna give the length that you want for yours. So you'll have to work the stitches as you're supposed to. So I finished with the pearl. I will start with the pearl. And this one is a pearl. Now it's a net. And like that, you're going to continue working this row, and then on and on until you have the desired length. I will work on mine off camera, and then I will let you know how many rows I give to mine. And then after that, we're going to work in the back part of our sweater. I did 18 rows for the color here, and it'll look like this. So now I'm going to cast off in row number 19, and you're going to cast off exactly the same as you did the shoulder. This one is a pearl, so you're going to do a net. And this one is a net, you're going to do a pearl. And you're going to pass the first one over the second, and nice and loose, okay? So this one is a net, and then you pass this one on top of that one, and then a pearl, and so on. When you finish, you're going to cut a strand of yarn long enough for sewing the side here of your collar and the shoulder. And the same you will do when you do the back piece. You're going to cut a strand of yarn long enough for sewing the other side of the collar and the shoulder. Once you finish, the front will look like this. And I will give you the measurements. So the measurement, the length from the border to the shoulder is 57 centimeters, and the width without doing this, because if you do this it's really wide, is 56 centimeters. Now the color is 33 by 22. Okay, so now we're going to work on the back piece. So the back piece, I just going to do the seed stitch. It's very easy, but if you like, you can do the back exactly the same as the front, but for mine I just going to do the seed stitch. Okay, so it'll be nice and easy, the same amount of stitches, work straight, do the same separation of the color, and sew them together and make some sleeve. Very easy. This is the amount of yarn that I have left from my second ball of yarn for the front piece. So you need 2 for the front and 2 for the back, plus some for the sleeves. So I'm gonna start a new one for the back, and with the second one as well, new one, and leave the 2 little pieces like that for the sleeves. To work in the back part of the sweater, you're gonna wrap around exactly the same as you did it for the front, 36 times on your needle. And you're going to cast down your 36 stitches. You're going to do the rib stitch of 1 net 1 purl for 6 rows. And once you have those 6 rows, I will meet you here to continue with the back part of our sweater. Here I have my 6 row, the rib stitch of 1 net 1 purl. Now we're going to start with the seed stitch for the back. So this one is a net, and you're going to do a purl. So we're going to work just the seed stitch and the entire back. And the next one is a net, and the next one is a purl, and you see this one is a purl, so you do a net, and then this one is a net, you do a purl, and like that you're going to continue all the way to the end. And remember, once you finish that row, you have to mark that row, because that's row number 1 of 48. So I finished row number 1, row number 2, and it's exactly the same repetition. You're going to do the opposite at the stitch that you have in front of you. So that one is a purl, you're going to do a net. And this one is a net, you're going to do a purl. It's a little difficult to work with these long needles in front of the camera, but I'm trying to do my best. So you're going to continue with this repetition in every single row, doing the opposite of the stitch that you have in front of you until you have 48 rows. Okay, so you're netting the purl and purling the nets. Here I have my 48 rows. So now we're going to do the decrease of the shoulders exactly the same as we did for the front. We're going to decrease the first 8, and then you're going to do 20 stitches plus the 8 for the other shoulder, and then and the way back you're going to decrease this 8 and then work the row until the end. Once you get to this end, you're going to start counting again your let me see how many rows, 18 rows of the color. Okay, so you're going to do in row 49, you're going to decrease this 8, continue 49 all the way to the end, and 50 you're going to decrease this 8, continue all the way to the end, and then start again row 1 of the top of the color. So we're going to cast off exactly as we're supposed to work the stitches. So this one you're supposed to do a purl, so you do a purl, and the next one a net, so you do a net, and then you pass the first one on top of the second one, and that's the first cast off. So now you do a purl, and this is the second one, and keep count as the cast off, and again this is a net, and this is the third one, and like that you're going to continue until you cast off 8. Here we have 28, 27 in this needle and 1 in this one. So now you're going to work the stitches as you see them. So this one is a purl, you're going to do a net, and the next one is a net, you're going to do a purl and a net, and like that you're going to continue all the way to the end. And then in the way back of row 50 we're going to do the cast off of the 8 stitches, and then after that we're going to continue just with the color. Now for the other side you're going to cast off your 8 and you're going to continue working the 20 stitches, and this will be row 50. After you finish this row until the end, when you start in here you'll start counting row 1 of the color. Okay, so you're going to work the stitches as you see them. This is a purl, so you're going to do a net, and this one is a net, you're going to do a purl, and you're going to pass this one on top of the other one. So this one is a purl, and you're going to do a net, and that's 2. Like that you're going to continue until you cast 8, and you will have 19 in this needle and 1 in here. I cast off my 8, so I have 20, 19 in this one and 1 in this one, and then you're going to work the stitches as you see them. So this one is a net, so you're going to do a purl, and then the next one is a purl, you do a net, and like that you're going to continue until the end, and that will be the end of row 50. And then after that we're going to start with row 1 for the color. Okay, here I have my 20 stitches left for the color. So we're going to do exactly the same as we did for the front. We're going to work the stitches as we have done so far for the seed stitch. So, and here this one is a net, so you're going to start with a purl and then a net, purl, net, purl, net, and you're going to purl the net and net the purls. So in the way back you will do the same. You will purl the net and net the purls, and you will do that for the same amount of row that you did for the front piece. So for mine was 18 row, and in row 19 I cast off my stitches, and that's what I'm going to do exactly the same in this one. I'm going to work off camera and I'll meet you here to show you the cast off one more time. So I have my 18 rows. Now row number 19 we're going to cast off, and exactly the same as we did for the shoulder, we're going to cast off as you see the stitches. So this one is a net, you're going to do a purl, and this one is a net, and you're going to pass the first one over the second one, and this one is a purl, and you're going to continue doing this until you go to the end. You end up with 1. You're going to cut the yarn long enough exactly as we did in here, and then you're going to pass it through the last loop, and this one is to sew the side of this part, and the other one will be in the other side to sew the other side. Okay, So the right side of the piece is when you had the tail in your right hand. So this is the right side. You don't can tell with the seed stitch, but in order for it to be in the right place for sewing, you have to pick the wrong right side. So this is the right side and this is the wrong side, so I'm going to flip it over. Now this tail in here is in your right side. That's on top. And now this one, you see the tail is in here, so this is the right side. The tail here is in the left hand, okay? So with this one you sew the left and with the other one the right side. So and here this to 10, you see, to get a little bit lower, but that's normal because this is an open stitch, a fantasy stitch, so that's fine. It look amazing, it feel amazing. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna come here, I know this is really difficult for you to see, this is big. I don't know if I am in camera all the time. So in here, with this tail, you're gonna sew this side in here all the way to the shoulder, and then with this one, you're gonna sew this side all the way down to the shoulder. After that, we're gonna create the sleeve and close this under the sleeve, the side of the sweater, and we are done. Or super size sweater, but it feels amazing. Now we're gonna sew the starting here in the top of the collar and here all the way to the shoulder. And if you don't have a needle with the eye big enough, you can use one of the plastic ones. They are much bigger than this one. So you're gonna come here to the tip and very careful, you're gonna sew this. You don't gonna pull too much, you don't want to stretch the stitch. Remember, this is nice and loose. I'm gonna pass it again through there. That way it's nice and secure. And then you're gonna sew even from one side to the next one. Nice and loose. And here this is a little bit long, so I'm gonna come in here in the center of that strand, and then I'm gonna come here to this pearl, to this pearl. Okay, you're gonna have even in the front and in the back, you're gonna see the same. And then you're gonna come in here, not pulling too tight. You want nice and loose because the rest of the stitch are nice and loose, okay? And you're gonna continue sewing this. It's better to sew from pearl to pearl, okay? And stretching them out a little bit, that way you get this open space until you get to here. You see these two look the same, and after that you're gonna sew these ones all the way to the end and do the same on the other side. Here I have one of the sleeves done, and it look a little bit shorter than my arm, but it's because the shoulder of my sweater is a little lower, so it covered part of my arm, not a lot, but a little bit. So you have to make the sleeve a little bit shorter, otherwise when you put it on, the sleeve will cover your hand. So this one measured 43 centimeters, and my sleeve supposed to be 48. So those extra 5 centimeters is the one extra from the sweater. So what I did for this one was, with these ones, with the 12 millimeter or US 17, I did this 6 row of 1 net 1 purl. And then in row number 7 that I start counting as row number 1, I change one of my needles to this one, okay, or one of these shorter ones. That's what I did. I start working with one of the shorter and later on I change to the longer ones because they are the same size. So from row 1 to row 16 I work with one of each. Okay, so with these two I work for those rows, and then I work with the bigger one from row from row 15 to row 21 I start my first increase, and then in row 25 I did 2 increase, and in 29 2 increase, and in 33 2 increase, and in row 34 I cast off the sleeve. So I did 8 increases to the sleeve. So it's like this. So here is 1 increase, 1 2 3, and the last one in here. Okay, I have 4 increases. So let's show you how you're gonna make your sleeve. Here I finished sewing the two sides and they look perfect, no seams in here, so you can fold this out or wear it just like this and look amazing. So now I'm gonna work on the sleeves. I'm gonna do one off camera, that way I know exactly what to do for the next one. So I have this leftover from, this one is from this sleeve and this one from the front and the back. So with this I'm gonna try to make the other sleeve, that way I don't have to use another ball of yarn. So in total will be only 5 instead of 6. So this one that I have more, that was the one left over from this sleeve, I'm gonna start, that way I will cover more without attaching the next one, okay? That way I save. And the other ball of yarn for another project. Needle I'm gonna wrap 10 times. I'm gonna pull it out, fold it in half, leave a little extra, and do a slip knot. And I'm gonna cast on my 20 stitches. So you're making this one for an extra large, so I recommend to do 22 stitches instead of 20. So you're gonna do this until you have your stitches cast on, okay? Once you finish your 20 cast on, you're gonna do a knot in here, not too tight, and you're gonna start with a net and a purl in here, exactly the same as we did the border of the sweater, 1 net 1 purl, 1 net 1 purl for 6 rows, but with this size needle. And remember to keep track of everything that you do in one sleeve, that way you do the other one exactly the same. And these long needles are not easy to work in front of the camera, but I don't have a shorter one this size, or this, yeah, this number. So I will meet you here when I have my 6 rows. I finished my 6 row. Now row number 7 will be row number 1 of the seed stitch. So we want to work with these 2 needles until row number 16. So on one side you knit with this one, work with this one, and the other side you work with the other one. But if you don't have a smaller size needle like this one, you can do the entire sleeve with the one that you work the sweater. So we're gonna start right away with a stitch. So this one was a net. Now you're gonna do a purl. And this one is a purl. You're gonna do a net. And the next one is a net. You're gonna do a purl. And then a net. Like that, you're gonna continue working exactly the same as you did the back of the sweater until row number 16. I will meet you here in row number 17. But remember, you have to work with these 2 needles. I did row number 1, and you see I have my stitches now in the bigger size needle, and now row number 2 is done with a smaller size needle. So this is something you can do for the entire sweater if you like. You can do it with these 2 different sizes. That way the stitch The fantasy stitch in the center is not as loose as mine, but that's up to you. I finished row 16, so now in row 17 we're going to work with the same size needle. So that will be row 17, 18, 19 and 20. And then in 21 we will do our first increase in the first stitch and in the last one. So when I'm done row 20, I will meet you here. So you're going to continue with the same stitch but with the same size needles. So now we're going to do the first increase, and we're going to do the first increase in this strand in the back and then work another stitch in the strand in the front. So you're going to bring the yarn to the back and you're going to pass through the strand in the back and you're going to do a stitch. You see I'm keeping this one in here, and I'm going to come here through the front and I'm going to do my other stitch, and this one is a net, so now you're supposed to do a purl, and then the next one a net. And like that you're going to continue working until you have one left, and then you do the same increase in the last one. So I will show you one more time. You see, in the strand in the back, you're going to do your first stitch in here, you see, and keeping this one in here, you're going to come to the strand in the front and you're going to do the next one, and you have 2 and 1, and this one is a net, you do a purl, and the next one that is a purl, you do a net, and so on until you have one stitch left in this needle, and then I will show you how to do the increase. Now we're going to do the last increase. So this one here is a net, so the next one supposed to be a purl. So you come to the strand in the back and you bring it to the front, you do a purl, and then yarn to the back and you do a net in the front strand. So I'll show you one more time. You see, yarn to the front, this one was a net, so you come the back at that strand, you grab it like this, you see, from the back to the front, you do a purl, and then yarn to the back and you do a net. You turn your work around and you've done your increase. So now you have 22 stitches on your needle. So if you did to start with 22, you'll have 24. So the increases are in row 21, that was this one. Let me mark that I did the increase. So you're going to do row number 22, 23, and 24, and then in 25, again, you're going to do exactly the same increase. And if you count, you will have 3 rows in between increases. So that's row 22, 23, and 24. And then 25 increase. You will do 26, 27, 29, 28, and 29 increase. And then you do row 30, 31, and 32, and 33 increase. And in row 34, we cast off our piece. So again, increases are in row 21, 25, 29, and 33. And you're going to end up with 28 stitches. And if you start with 22, you end up with 30 stitches on your needle. I finished my 33 row. Now in row 34 we're going to cast off. And this one is a purl, so I'm going to do a net. And the next one, a purl. I'm going to pass the first one on top of the second one and cast it off. Now this one you will do a net. And when you do the net, that space that you saw there is no more between the stitches. And cast that one off, you see. Now this one you do a purl, and you will cast it off nice and loose. So when you finish your cast off, you'll have only one loop. You cut the strand long enough and pass it through that loop and secure the stitch, and the strand will be for sewing or a sleeve. So make two the same, and then I will meet you here to sew the sleeve and close the side of our sweater, and we have done our project. I already attached one of the sleeve in here, and I'm going to do the same in the other side in here. So from the center to this end it will be 23 centimeters, and from the center to the other end 23. So I'm not pulling my sleeve, I just let it sit there naturally like that. And then when you measure, you'll have 23 centimeters in here, you see, in that stitch, in here, and you will do the same on the other side. You see, to this purl is 23 centimeters. So you're going to start sewing in that purl. Nice and loose. To this purl. I put my hand there, that way I don't stretch that stitch. And then I will come in this side. And like that you're going to sew until the center, and then make sure that you have 23 to the other side. Okay? And then you're going to sew the other sleeve, and after that you're going to grab a strand of yarn, you see, nice and loose, and you're going to sew from here all the way to the center here, and then all the way here like that. Okay, matching every stitch with every stitch on each side of the piece. And then you will do the same on the other side, and then you have done your sweater. This is the leftover yarn that I have from the 5 ball of yarn. Okay, so I'm going to finish this off camera and I'll show you the end result. This is the back of the sweater, and remember my model is a medium size and the sweater is a large size, but still it looks really nice for her size. So I'm gonna turn it around and I'll show you. Well, this is the end result, and I love this super size sweater. If you don't want the fantasy stitch to be that open, I recommend to work the entire piece with the 2 different size needles, with the 12 and the 15 millimeter, or US 17 and 19. And it will be more tight the stitch. I love it. So I hope you guys like it, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this piece and you want to send me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Stedman, or you can find me in my Instagram, Ruby Stedman Crochet. Please share my video with friends and family, that way you help me grow here on YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.